I don't know if you will call me lucky, but I identified one money trap in my 20s. I said no to this trap, and that single decision formed the foundation of over $200,000 that I have personally saved since that time. So by the end of this video, you will know exactly what this money trap is. And I will also give you a very simple but brutal filter to protect every dollar you earn from now on. You see, W. Clement Stone was very, very correct, very right, when he said, if you cannot save money, the seed of greatness is not in you. And I meet many men in their 50s today, in their 40s. They are absolutely broke and struggling and frustrated and unhappy with the way things have unfolded in where they are today. It is because they fell into this money trap. So for men between 25 and 40, this is going to be the difference between building a $1 million nest egg by the time you're 50 or 60, or staring at a zero balance in your old age. Interestingly, when I was thinking about sharing this information, I came across a very interesting post by a certain influencer called Dr. Kemi. I don't know her very well, but she's really very popular and she posts some valuable content. So let me just show you in a moment that post and the amazing comments that came out of it. Okay. So here is the post. So Kemi says, to all men, what's one thing a man should avoid at all costs if he wants to save money? Powerful question. Powerful question. And I thought that was very interesting. So I looked at the comments. As at this time, there are 396 comments, like 400 comments. So you can tell that this is a very interesting topic, especially for young men. And it is amazing. All the things that the people were saying here. This one says, let me make it a little bigger. This one says alcohol and womanizing. This one says forex, gambling, crypto, womanizing comes in again. Now, let me take a look at the 8 replies to this one. Okay. This one says they play lazy man, having only one babe and limitation of alcoholic consumption doesn't stop one from saving money. Okay. And you look at all of them, a man should avoid living to impress others. Pride and show off will drain your pocket and any bill. What this shows me is that people actually know what to do to become financially comfortable. But the problem is that do people do it? So this one says alcohol and woman. The same thing. If Onanya, who also happens to be a woman, say first, na woman. Second, drinking and smoking. Olumide says women and BS. And this one says the one thing is womanizing. It's really very expensive. Imagine your babe asking for iPhone 16 or Brazilian hair or car, skincare, house rent, school fee, change wardrobe, evening feeding is expensive nowadays. Okay. And then Ekika Dominic says gambling, alcohol, and most importantly, woman. Okay. And then this one says dating or marrying broke girls. This man says living bills, also known as girls. Apple Friday says betting, womanizing. Uche White says, I say for women and alcohol, but this is nothing compared to Bet Niger, which is actually gambling for those of you who don't know. Alcohol comes before womanizing. This one says womanizing and alcohol. And this one says betting, womanizing. This one says womanizing. This one outlines it, alcohol, gambling, and womanizing. This one says woman, women and beer. This one says womanizing and gambling. Suleiman says, avoid a lady that has no job and love contributions, 3K pack, 1 billion. That kind of lady will quickly send her man to early grave. This one says, gambling, promising what it can do, removing unnecessary pressure, avoiding women who don't have something doing. This one says, women, betting, alcohol, and religion. So this is very interesting. Every one of those 400 responses fall under these 3 money traps that every man must avoid if you are to save money, and then if you are to have the seed of greatness in you. And it reminds me exactly what my father told me way back 1978. I was a little boy going to boarding house, for the first time. I didn't know anything. The man called me aside into his room and said, my son, if you want to be great in life, you are leaving the house for the first time and you are going to meet people. You're going to meet people who have all kinds of beliefs and things like that. He said these 3 things. He said, avoid girls, avoid alcohol, and avoid smoking. That's what my father told a little boy who knew nothing. And I'm glad he said it. So let me tell you a very true personal story. And this will prove to you how my life would have been totally different from what you know it today if I had fallen into that trap. Because I almost fell into it. So it happened one of those days I came back from school. So I must have been about 2021. It was holiday season. And that particular day, that particular sunny day, I remember it with shivers right now because every time I talk about that story, the whole scenery, the whole video, as if it was frozen in time, just comes flooding my mind again. And I have those feelings. So this girl in the village walks in, voluptuous girl. And at that time, she had opened eyes a little bit. I had known her for a long time. So perfect day, perfect moment. Dad was not in, mom was not in, my siblings were not in. I do not know how that setup worked. And this girl walked straight into our house and walked straight into my room. Sat on the bed. At the time I was sitting on my reading table, she sat on the bed. I do not know what happened, but all of a sudden, I said that I was overcome with these very strange feelings, very strange, lustful feelings toward this girl. Up to this moment, I was chaste. As a matter of fact, I was chaste till I married on my 30th birthday. But this was the closest call. This would have broken it. And I left my reading chair and went and sat by this girl. I did not know what I was doing, but all I saw, my hands started rubbing her back. I started getting close, but I was fumbling because I'd never done it before and I never knew what was the first step, what was I to do, and things like that. Because I saw that obviously she was ready because she wasn't protesting, she wasn't saying anything. But I was so clueless as to, okay, I'm doing this. What should I say next? What should I do? I was clueless. So after a couple of moments of my fumbling, the girl abruptly stood up, stormed out of the house. And I left the house and then ran after her. I said, come now. I called her name. I said, come now. She just turned back slightly and said something in our language. Up to today, I do not understand what she meant. She said, no, I'm not coming back. That the bamboo stick is short. Up to today, I don't know what that meant. But that was how I was saved that day. Because after she left, all of a sudden, it's as something was lifted. I was shocked. I said, oh my God, is this what I would have done? And I tell you, the girls in my village, especially in those days in the 70s, in the 80s, they were extremely fertile. Extremely fertile. I mean, they could, if there was Bluetooth in those days, These girls could become pregnant just by Bluetooth, by Wi-Fi, by just passing by you. They were that fertile. And I myself, I was very, very strong, healthy young man. The implication of that is that I would have had a baby at my age 20 or 21. I would have had a baby. And I think about many things that could also have happened. One is I would have been forced to marry this girl because in my village in those days, you don't just make a girl pregnant and then go over it. So I probably would have dropped out of school. And I probably, I joke about it, but I probably would have been a palm wine topper in the village today if that had happened. And you probably would never have heard about me, and you probably would never have been watching this video. And I probably would be wretched at 59 years today. So many people fall into this trap. Solomon, in his writings, kept warning about lustful relationships with women and how they turn a man into a loaf of bread. And it is just amazing the millions, hundreds of millions of men today who are battling with lust, who are battling with pornography, who have no idea how these things are literally sapping their lives and sapping their finances. Let me dive in a little bit into these money traps. On gambling, for instance, you don't gamble to get rich. If you're involved in it, you know that you gamble to feel rich. For a few seconds, you feel the thrill of potential, the appearance of easy money. But deep down you that it's not a financial strategy. It's not a financial strategy. Gambling is not a financial strategy. But the credits always roll, and then you're always left with less. So you're paying for the appearance of being a high roller. On alcohol, it's the same thing. It's not just about the beer that you have with friends. It's about the performance of relaxation. That curated Instagram stories that you have at the club. The rounds of shots to show that you can afford it. You are not buying a drink. You're buying a prop for a play called I Have Disposable Income. You're playing to appear like you are not stressed about money, which is ironically what is stressing you about money. And then of the draining relationships and womanizing, which everybody talks about. It's not about love and connection, because nothing beats saying yes to one woman and sticking it out with her. Nothing beats it. Nothing beats faithfulness. Nothing beats standing before God and man, taking a girl and saying to her, you're going to be my only one woman for the rest of my life. I will love you. I will protect you. I will honor you with my body. I will honor you with my wealth, in sickness, in health, in wealth, in lack. I'm going to be by your side and you are going to be my girl. Nothing beats it. I have been married for 30 years, faithful to one woman. And I can tell you, no amount of money on earth would beat that. Okay, so now you might ask, what did I do with all those savings of nearly $300,000? I invested in my marriage and family. The money that I would have spent in alcohol, in drugs, and gambling, I invested in my personal growth. I invested, number 3, in my financial assets. I got some land. I bought shares in the stock market. And I also invested it in building relationships with others. We have children that we've adopted from different countries. We've had opportunities to show generosity to groups, to individuals, building relationship. And then, like the ancient people in my tribe say, that he who has relationships surpasses he who has only money. So that's where those savings have gone. But you see, if I had fallen into these traps, no number of women I may have slept with or moved out with and all that. I mean, I can't boast of that today. So at 60, that isn't something I could boast about. Or how many girls I took out, how many liters of alcohol I've drunk in the past 40 years. You can't boast about those things. But you can have a nice family and peace. You can have investments in the stock market, in the financial market. You can have assets. You can live in your own house. You can have the ability to help other people, to reach out to communities, reach out to individuals, to help other people. And above all, you can have peace. And so you might ask me, suppose you are falling into those money traps. What do you need to do? I want to keep it simple. One thing that you need to do to get yourself out of the trap, or also to protect every dollar that is coming into your wallet, is to ask yourself, who am I? Very simple question. Who am I? Why am I here? It's very simple. Don't ignore it because it sounds very simple. But that's sitting down with it, even for maybe you wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, after you hear this, and you sit down with your paper and pen. Who am I? Why am I here? Because the moment you understand, you define your identity and you understand the purpose for which you are here, it becomes the organizing principle for all your habits, all your activities, all your relationships, and everything around you. So it becomes the organizing factor, the DNA of all other things. And then you know that these traps, these habits would naturally drop off because you know that they are not serving your purpose. Okay, so write, comment at the end of this video. Tell me what you think. Tell me where this has helped you. And if you have a question, put it down there and I will interact with you. And if you want to see more content like this, let me know. Because these are the little truths. You may not find much of this on the pages of social media, but these are the little truths that set you free. And whatever happens, keep showing up because you just never know what's coming your way next.